Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Stanley number BP150N-41. This is a pair or a set of Stanley hangers for the 150 series sliding door track. And it's going to include mounting plates, fasteners, and a wrench to adjust the height of the door once you're installed. The 150 series is probably going to be certainly going to be used in bypass. If there was a pivot set available for it, those hangers would handle up to 150 pounds. I know that there was a pocket door set as well that was co-branded Stanley National as well. So, you know, it's a 150-pound hanger. Let's take a look at what's in the packaging now. So obviously what you're going to get are a pair of hangers. Okay, so 2 hangers, 150-pound rated. Give you a couple of basic dimensional properties of the item. Overall length of the wheels, you know, just giving you dimensions of what people will normally provide to us when they're looking for a hanger. About 2¼ inch overall width. They'll also give about 1 3/8 inches. The diameter of a wheel, about 1 inch, and the thickness of that wheel, about 1/4 inch, as you can see. Okay, this is going to include the included pendant bolts. That's what that is called. If you just use your imagination, that would be a pendant bolt. A pendant's going to hang, and that's what that is. That's a pendant bolt. Both hangers will have those. Next are going to be the 2 mounting plates. Okay, these are pretty simple and straightforward mounting plates once you understand what the 2 little triggers do. But first, overall length, about 3 3/4 by about 1 1/16 inches. Overall thickness, about 3/8. What these triggers do is, you'll be able to take your, once this is attached to the top of the door, both of them, you'll be able to literally take your door to the hangers and push it up, and you're going to get the pendant bolts to snap in place, is what you're going to be able to do. If I were to push these together, I can get them to snap into place. And that's what it's going to look like. To release that, you're going to take the gray trigger, and you're going to pull it back this way, although it's not easy. Pull it back this way, and it'll separate. That's just a spring-loaded trigger that's here. Once you get them attached, you're going to take that white lock, they call it, and you're going to slide it over that way. That's in the completed position. To remove that, pull that lock open, pull that trigger back and down, and you're in good shape. After that, the only thing you're going to get really, other than fasteners, you're going to get a whole mess of screws for attaching your hangers. You know, they have a number of screws in here, several of each. More than you need, there's no doubt. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. There's 20. So what this is you're going to get, you need a total of 8 screws. You're going to get 20 screws in this pack, whatever it is. Some shorts, some long ones. This is clearly when they ship a BP150, they're going to take this, throw it in the box, you're done. Okay, if you're doing a single door, a single sliding door. That's the amount of screws that are here is what you would need for everything, including the track and the floor guide. So lots of screws. What length, which of the 2 lengths would I use for the top of the door? Well, I would gravitate towards using the longer ones. However, depending on the construction of the door, it may be of no use to use the longer screw, because you probably won't have anything after the 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, whatever it is, to attach to. About 1.5 inches on the long one. About 1 inch on the shorter one. The installation instructions will probably give us guidance as to which to use. This wrench is clearly something that's used for other purposes as well. We're going to need the large end of the box wrench to be able to move that pendant bolt. And it has takes a little bit of force to rotate it. Sorry. Yeah, it's going to take a little bit of force to rotate it once it locks in. I might suggest using my own tool for doing this. But you'll be able to rotate that And the thing is, it really only rotates in one direction. This little notch that's here is going to lock onto the backside, which is going to, of course, need to be on the side on which you're pulling from. Okay, so if you need to raise the unit, you're going to need to put the tool in this way so that you rotate it what would be clockwise. If you're going to lower the unit, you'll need to flip the wrench over. Okay, so that's it. You'll want to probably hang on to one of these wrenches, try to keep it somewhere where you're going to remember where it is. Sooner or later, the door will have to be serviced. What does that mean? Well, I've noticed that the reason it's not super easy to rotate that pendant bolt, because it's in that nylon block, is because over time that pendant bolt will rotate. I've noticed in my own house where, you know, the door is making perfect contact for about the top 2 inches of the opening, but the door, because that pendant bolt has lowered, the door is now coming away from the jamb, so I've got a large gap down here, whereas up here I have no gap. Okay, so I've got to run that bolt back up so I can bring the door, you know, from this position back to this position. So having that wrench available is something you want to have, because sooner or later, like I said, you're going to need to service it most likely. And also, if it's a new home, homes have a tendency to shift, to settle slightly, jambs get moved around. It's typical. Let's switch to the screen view and take a closer look at some supporting documentation. Okay, so here's the item that we are here looking at. And we have some photographs listed here, and I can show them to you. Just static photographs of the items that we're discussing here. Let's see, we have some more. Great side view of that pendant bolt. Of course, this is shown upside down. This would be installed the other way up. Your 2 locking tabs. That's the spring-loaded one that you have to depress to remove the door, and then you'll slide that over into the locked position. I can't determine what's the mechanism inside. It's probably some sort of concentric lobe that's basically just, as you rotate it, coming in contact with, you know, I would imagine the underside of the bolt. You know, must be making contact somewhere, or maybe against this area here. Bottom side of, well, this is the side facing the door. You'd never see this side. Screws, wrench, everything that's in the package. Okay, so now installation instructions. There's a link below this video to the BP150N and the 250N installation instructions. The procedure will prove to be the same on either series, just the capacity of the pair of hangers will change. So this is for installing everything, an entire new kit. Step 1 is to install the track. Step 2 is to prepare the track, apparently. Step 3, place the hangers on the top of the doors, a minimum of 5/8 of an inch over. You want to get them to as close to the outside as possible, but a minimum of 5/8, and that's just simply because of how the balance of the installation will work in terms of where the hangers will end up, or pardon me, the wheels will end up when the door's in the closed position. Applying those hangers. Now, what do they say in terms of screws? They want you to use the 1-inch screws up here rather than the 1.5-inch screws. So that's what the installation calls for. You know, that probably makes sense unless you have a a door that has a double thick top rail. But using an 1.5-inch screw versus a 1-inch, this is obviously how it's been tested to use a 1-inch screw. Step 4 would be to install the floor guides. Step 5 is to get the door installed onto the hangers, into the track. To install door to hanger, lift door in the upward position, snapping the post into hanger plate, and push the locking tab to the locked position. So you're just going to push that up and then rotate that locking tab. You're done once the locking tab and the spring-loaded trigger are in the same position. Turn the post to adjust vertically for height and plumb while using the wrench provided. Do not unscrew post from hanger. To remove the door, activate both tabs in the direction of the white arrow. Slide the white one over and then depress that spring-loaded gray tab. They say use a screwdriver. I'd be tempted to not do that, even though it's not pleasant to do that on the tip of your finger. a piece of metal under force against a couple of pieces of plastic tells me there's the possibility of breaking those. So I would avoid trying to do that. I would rather even put on a leather-tipped glove before I put a screwdriver on here to get those pulled back. There's also a link to the Stanley National pocket door kit. It uses the same hardware package. It's just here for, you know, edification purposes only. You know, not much else to this. Literally, it's the same step apparently as the rest. Now, there's a link below this video here to the manufacturer's page within our site where you can review not only all of the Stanley products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to their product catalog. Although the product catalog, and we have a Stanley sliding and folding product hardware product catalog on that page as well. This will give you an overview of pocket doors, bypass doors, bifold doors, etc. from Stanley. All of the kits that they offer, the part numbers, the sizes, the constituent components that go along with all of that is all listed here. Here's our, well, we'll just do a BP150N search on our site. We're going to find several instances of it. So a floor guide, a finger pull. You know, as you search through that, what's happening is the root part number is here, but then they will have a suffix number to that, and it's just a derivative component. You continue to cycle through this, and you'll find, you know, the original kit that's here. A little bit of cross-reference on the entire kit. The constituent components that would come out of that kit, and obviously our BP150N-41 is listed here. So a handy document, as hopefully you can see. Speaking of handy documents, back on that manufacturer's page, the link to their website, it's called, well, this link is taking us to Stanley Security Solutions. However, I happen to know that the site for the sliding door hardware is called, or at least currently called, Stanley Hardware for Doors. So let's do that. Stanley Hardware for Doors. It's an unusual name for a company to have. You know, I would... Okay. Spelling issues aside, Stanley Hardware for Doors is really where this comes out of. So, additional information, I would go to Support. I would go down to Knowledge Base and click Search Now, then click Stanley. And on this page, we're going to find Stanley Sliding and Folding Door Hardware. Okay, Knowledge Base. That's not where I wanted to go, actually. Let's back up a little bit. Yeah, I want to be on Stanley. Control F, sliding. Oh, okay, so yeah, here we go. So, Stanley sliding and folding door hardware, installation instructions. Then you'll be able to scroll down and pull up installation instructions for all of these items that are here. Back a step, heavy-duty pulls and handles templates. Skip over that. Why are the doors on a BP60 hitting after hanging on? Okay, so that's just a question apparently that's been posted. So installation instructions for all of their kits can be reviewed here. So a handy area once you know exactly where to find it. So let's wrap up this video on camera. In conclusion, why would you be buying these hangers? And this BP150 platform has been around for several years. I bet I can pull this out of a catalog that is probably from 2010, if not earlier. You might have a cracked hanger. You might have something that is broken on this. You might have a broken top plate. all of that's legitimate, and that happens all the time. People call all the time, yeah, one of my wheels cracked, and the door just doesn't slide very smoothly. Or, very common as well, doors come off to be painted, hardware comes off, hardware gets put over here, part of it falls onto the ground, it gets swept up into the garbage, and it's gone. You know, not to pick on the painters, but it happens. Or the homeowners, it happens. I've had people call and say, yeah, I threw it out. I didn't know what it was at the time, and I know I threw it out. I've done that as well with many items. You know, the one I always remember is the tape dispenser. As you pull off the tape, you know, a proper desk, you know, sitting tape dispenser, well, that plastic core inside of there, once the tape is exhausted, what the roll goes into, that core there, that's not meant to be thrown out. Well, I've thrown that out for sure. Anyway, so the name Stanley is synonymous with residential and commercial building hardware for a very long time. 19th century, maybe mid-19th century company. I don't recall exactly the year, but pre-Civil War. And their name is going to be associated with closers and exit devices, lock sets. Most notably for me would be hinges, commercial hinges, institutional hinges, things that are used in commercial applications, an exceptional caliber commercial hinge. And then, of course, residential and all of the other derivatives and companies on top of companies. And Stanley's currently associated with Kaba, Best, Precision, obviously Stanley. Who knows what else? The name is currently, Dorma, obviously. I think the name is Dorma Kaba is what they're under. Reshifting of branding currently going on, etc. But luckily, the BP150 is still good, same old quality that I recall it being. And that's going to be a zinc dichromate over steel. It's a corrosion resistant, gives it a gold sort of tone. It's called zinc dichromate. Any questions on the BP150N-41 set of hangers, a set of hardware actually, or any other Stanley product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.